You're watching Arise, the world's standout news channel. Arise News, awards, and beyond.
Now let's cross live to Davos, Switzerland, where Nigeria's Vice President Kashim Shettima is participating in a panel discussion on the Global Risk Report 2025. The conversation focuses on tackling accelerating geopolitical, technological, and environmental challenges while building resilience against emerging threats. Let's listen in.
Don't be shy. I'm going to give you another chance. There, three rows back.
I haven't heard the word Iran. So I was wondering whether even you wanted to comment on this as a risk for 2025.
I'm happy to, but I will. Does anybody else want to take a view on that?
Well, I would argue that Iran is merely one of many potential sources of conflict going forward. I mean, if you look at the 2025 league table and look at the state violence risk, I mean, there's a very long list of countries which you could actually attach that risk to. So Iran is definitely one of them, but then it's only one of many.
So I would perhaps, yes, Mr. President.
Yes, I think the offside of the Trump presidency is that people are not willing to give to him. People see him as irrational, as erratic, but this is an image he had deliberately created for negotiation purposes. He's much more brilliant than we are willing to give him. Yes, he's transactional, but he has street credibility, such that the peace in the Middle East, the ceasefire in Gaza, might not be unconnected with the influence of Trump. And Trump being a transactional leader, I don't think if he's obsessed with global dominance. So it's my fervent hope and belief that in the coming months he will find a solution, or will get a solution to the crisis even in Ukraine, because of his strict credibility. And because he often calls a spade not by any other thing but his name, I believe that there are the positive sides of all negativities. And the world will be ushered into an era of some stable peace, especially even the Iranian question. He will bluff, he will shout, but at the end of the day, it's just a negotiation tactics. That's my own take on him. He's much more brilliant than we are willing to give him.
Thank you. Next question. Yes, Matthias.
The collapse of vertical trust, you have described it. Do you think it's desirable to recreate it? And if so, which role should media play, social media and journalistic media?
Well, as somebody who obviously benefited in the past as being part of the media from vertical trust, obviously everyone who's ever been in a position of authority would love to have vertical trust, love to have more of it. Turkeys don't vote for Christmas. However, what I would say is, first of all, can we recreate it? I would argue only with great difficulty. I don't see any easy way to recreate it anytime soon. Should we simply shun it and howl in outrage? I think not. I think we need to recognize it and work with it. And so to give you some examples of what I mean by that, I think one of the biggest problems with misinformation today, one thing that's fueled it, is the fact that leaders have forgotten the importance of what scientists call the error bar. That's a principle in science of admitting the level of certainty with which you have reached your results and how much they could be wrong. During COVID, for entirely understandable reasons, let me stress, entirely understandable reasons, there was such a sense of panic that politicians made very dogmatic black and white statements about medical issues that were actually quite grey. And nobody actually acknowledged the error bar, that they were doing their best, but didn't exactly know. And that, I think, just to give one example, has fostered this lack of confidence and credibility of science and experts. And I do think that if leaders want to command more credibility in future, we need to start talking very actively about that error bar and acknowledge it honestly. We need to recognize we have a lateral world of trust. We can't just assume that people will give us credibility because we speak anymore. There are good sides. As a journalist, a world of lateral communication and trust means that you can lob an idea or a call out for help into the media landscape, and suddenly you not only get lots of feedback, which richens your perspective and gives you 3 or 4 dimensions.
Risks in your particular area. Could we end by, we've only got just under about 7 minutes left, you giving us a sense of the opportunity? And I think, Mr. Vice President, I'd like to start with you because, and keep it not too extensive, because there are so many opportunities in Africa, but just give us the sense of why, despite the risks that you've spoken of, there is also a profound sense of opportunity, and I'd like the three of you to do it too.
Okay. Well, the word for crisis in the Chinese language is wei des. Wei stands for danger and des for opportunity. Yes, we have challenges, but those challenges are also pregnant with opportunities to re-engineer our society and build back better. The crisis has given us a unique opportunity, a unique window to invest on the people, especially on education, on gender empowerment initiatives, on smart agriculture, and leapfrog our economies into the fourth industrial revolution. I don't believe in AIDS. I believe in partnership. I would rather carry my poverty with dignity and deal with people and nations and companies on a pedestal of equality, not a master-servant relationship. I don't come with a begging bowl. My continent is the richest in the world. And the trajectory of global growth is facing Africa. And Nigeria will make or mar that transition. So I move in with confidence, with cautious optimism, with hope for a better tomorrow. But most importantly, I believe that the youth of Africa are the drivers of change in Africa.
Yeah, Africa will, you will need to drive that change yourselves.
Certainly.
Absolutely, in a more fragmented world. Martina, you're laying out how to think about the risks of fragmentation for your clients. What are the opportunities in this world?
I would say, and I think it connects to a number of the topics here. The potential for generative AI is, in our view, very, very significant. Our teams believe that it could generate around 0.5% of GDP growth every year over the next 5 to 10 years. That scale of productivity brings tremendous potential, whatever one of these risks you're talking about. We are very encouraged, for example, with the ability to spot things like methane leaks, cap them off, reduce carbon emissions, where we see smart meters that can also reduce carbon emissions. We see the tremendous benefits in healthcare, potential for longevity, and that's one of the areas where I don't know if I was in the same place as Dario. I heard him say some of the same stuff this week, but I agree with you. It's closer, not further, in general, and I think it's a tremendous opportunity for all of us to embrace.
Thank you, John.
We're excited about AI as well and what it can mean. I'll talk about it in the context of our own business, and I try to simplify everything. We're a big company, and we advise lots of different enterprises around the world on a wide range of issues. But it will make us faster. It will make us more efficient, and it will enable risk insights that we haven't yet seen. And so we're already seeing evidence of faster and more efficient emerge in our workplace, which is exciting. It's not material, but it's meaningful, and we're learning from those experiments that we've been taking, and we see possibility for more scaled impact in our workplace. But back to, you asked me about catastrophic weather events, right? This technology will transform how we think about and how we model against catastrophic weather events going forward. And clearly that's an impact. There's a lot of discussion about the insured loss when these types of events happen. And take Southern California, the likely economic impact of these events is going to be 3 times or more than the insured loss. And so it has a very, very meaningful impact, and these technologies will enable us to manage these risks in a better way.
And Gillian, last word is yours.
I would simply echo that point and say the only silver lining to the cloud of extreme weather events is that it will wake more people up to climate change and hopefully unleash more innovation around ways to try and mitigate some of the weather problems. And one of the silver linings of all the misinformation and polarization and growing stress, I would argue, is that at least it's forcing us all, even or especially the elites at Davos, to recognize that we have a world of growing inequality, and unless we create a more inclusive approach, these challenges are going to get worse and worse. And as I say, the only silver lining about the current sense of crisis and gloom in many parts of the world today is that at least it will wake people up.
Thank you. I will end only by saying that this, and I agree with you, Gillian, that this report, year after year, looking back at it, you really get a sense of the kind of the pulse of the moment of what people worried about. I wish, where's Mark, in addition to ranking the risks, you had some measure of the scale of uncertainty and impact of the outcomes.
The error bar again.
I think the error bar again, because I think I would close by saying that this to me compared to previous Davoses is, we are in an era where the potential range of geopolitical outcomes is fundamentally larger than it has been. And I completely agree with you that there is huge upside as well as risk. I think an international order that has been in existence for 80 years is now over, and we're in a whole new world, and the potential range of outcomes in that world is enormous, and it's happening, as you, Martina, and you, John, have said, at the same time as we are in the midst of an unprecedentedly enormous and unprecedentedly fast technological revolution. You put those things together and they are huge risks, but my goodness, they're also huge opportunities. So have an error bar. That's Gillian's, Gillian's admonition, and I fully agree with it. Thank you all very much indeed.
You're watching Arise, the world's standout news channel. Arise News, awards, and beyond.